This is an extra demo showing you a pretty cool light effect that I like to use, and it gives you a lot of different kind of effects and options. We're going to be using the Maya software render and not Mental Ray. This can be done using Mental Ray, but it's a little bit different procedure, and I will go over that at another time. But for now, we're going to be using the Maya software renderer. And what I've done here is that I basically made a cube, not a cube, a sphere, and I've deleted some of the faces out of this sphere here, so it gives us some openings, and we're going to be shining some light out of this sphere here. And if we were to just do a little quick render, you can see what it looks like with just the default lights. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up and I'm going to create a point light. Oh, there we go. And here's, I created a point light, and we can't see it because it's below the plane here. And here's our point light. I'm just going to bring it up, and I'm going to bring it up inside of this sphere that I've got going on here. And if we were to do a quick render, you can see what's going on here. Let's do a little bit closer in so we can kind of see what's going on. But you can see that really nothing's going on. It's just lighting the inside of the sphere here, and not really doing anything very exciting. With the point light, I'm also going to open up my outliner so I can select these another time quicker. So with the point light selected, I am going to open up the attributes editor, and this is going to give me some options here for my point light. And you have the point light as the shape, and we go down here, and we have a few things that we can go and we can do. Oh, I can't really, can I make this come down a little bit more? Why can't I do that? Anyway. There we go. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to give it shadows. And for Maya software render, the shadow that's default that works the best is depth map shadows. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to just give it shadows. And as you can see now, it's not lighting, it's not like the light's not penetrating out of the sphere, and it's just creating a shadow. So this gives us a more realistic look, and some light is shining out and going out and casting light onto that plane there. Good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this effect here, is I'm going to go up to here into this this menu item here, and I'm going to give it some fog. And we open up the light effects, and we have light fog, and we're going to do the click on the little checkerboard there, and we've given it light fog. So it gives us some color, some density. And you can't really see it right now, but inside, let's just go in, maybe I can go in and kind of show you what it does, is it gives the point light this sphere of influence, which is, this is what it's going to create the fog effect. So I'm going to actually select, I can either select the light, or I can actually select that influence there now, and I'm going to scale that up so it's coming out on the outside of the sphere, like we've got going on here. Let's do a quick render and see what it does. There we go. Now you can see what it's doing. It is casting light, and it's casting a kind of a fog sort of atmosphere called volumetric lighting outside of the sphere. Now as you can see, it stops out of this sphere of influence. So if I wanted to make that go a little bit more, I'm going to have to make that sphere of influence just bigger like that, and make a render like so. And you can see that the light is casting some it's casting some volumetric light. It's giving it a fog that's coming out of these windows there. You've also got some other you've got a few other settings here that you can play with. You can play with the fog type here, and sometimes this doesn't really do much. just makes the render longer. Let's do an IPR render and see what this does. Sometimes IPR renders don't update what the changes are, like for shadows and stuff, but I'm going to just see if this does anything. If this changes. See, it's actually kind of a it slows down your rendering considerably, as you can see here. And it's going to, adding the fog effect is real nice, but it does add a little bit, it takes away some power from Maya a little bit. Let's just change it back to normal. And that's just going to take a little bit too long, but you get the idea here, so I'm going to turn that off there. And I'm also going to show you one other light here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a spotlight. And let's make the spotlight come up here. And we've used the spotlights before. I've shown you how to use the spotlight. And we're going to just kind of go down like that. And let's just see what that does. And in fact, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn, let me get rid of this light altogether. Let's just get rid of that. And let's get rid of the point light and just focus in on the spotlight for the moment. And come up like that. And let's just make it a little bigger so you can see it. And do a little render. And you can see what is going on here. So it's casting some light down on this section here, and we can move it around and do what we need to do. This light has that same, has all of those same settings that I just showed you with the point light. First of all, we're going to make a shadow. We're going to use depth map shadows. I'm not going to put that on right now because we're not really going to point this through any kind of geometry, but I am going to give it a fog. And I'm going to open up the fog light effect, type on here, and as you can see, what it does is it gives me this shape here that's going to show me where the influence of the fog is going. And as you can see here, we've got this fog, this nice little fog effect coming from the spotlight from there, and you can see that it stops, the fog influence stops at that point. So if we wanted to kind of go a little further, oops, give me some room here, we're going to have to actually change the size of the actual light like that, like so. Let's do render, see what that does, and you can see what it's doing here. Now this is nice for having like beams of light coming out of windows. Even in daytime it gives you kind of a nice little dusty effect. And you have also some settings here which you can kind of play with. You can play with the density if it's a little too much. You can kind of make it a little lighter by playing with the density here. You can give it some color if there's some color coming through the light like that. You can't really see it. Let's just do another render here. And you can have like a red light coming through for like, this is good for like a stage effect. You're doing like a kind of a stagey kind of thing. But as you notice, it just changes the color of the fog. It doesn't change the color of the light. You're going to have to go to the light individually into its attributes and change the color to match whatever color you have made the fog effect. Hopefully this is a cool little easy effect that you can do and put some nice little atmosphere or just some nice little details into your scenes if you want to.